Hey guys, James here, and it's been a while on this channel, and there's something I gotta talk about today. Now last year I was involved in this group called The Crew. That's what we called ourselves. We didn't have like an official name, we just always stuck with The Crew. Now back in 2012 around March I was getting ready to film season 3 of my jamezaxeltv videos, and you know, around that time I was starting to I wanted more people in my videos, like friends and so forth. It all started with Lexi at first. I had a comeback video planned with her, and then, you know, Greg came aboard about a month later, and then he started to introduce me to a couple of his friends who are already YouTubers. The first one was Henry, and that was like the only one he told me about. So I started researching Henry's channel, The Cool Dude TV, and I was all like, wow, I like your videos and everything. You should like come hang out with us and, you know, be in the videos. Needless to say, he joined, you know, obviously. And then one day during shooting, we kind of took a break. We went on a lunch break and we came across another YouTuber named Devin, aka Crash Side Killer. And he was already one of Greg's friends, so basically I'm meeting everyone through Greg for the most part. Now when I met Devin, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was a YouTuber and everything, and then like, I don't know, every time I meet a YouTuber I automatically think they're more famous than me. That's what I thought when I met Henry, when I met Devin, and then, you know, everything just like, I don't know, we clicked for a few moments, and then, you know, later on everything just went to hell. But yeah, it was Lexi, Greg, Henry, Devin, and me. So a couple days and a couple weeks went by, and I was all like, hey guys, you want to film a video with me? They all agreed nonetheless, but during filming we all kind of just like want to spend time as friends and hang out and like talk about what's going on in the world with like pop culture and like whatever. What was mainstream, what was not mainstream, and etc. So one day I took him to the sanitation building, and you know, it always looked abandoned, and I always used to go there a lot for like the past 4 or 5 years with like friends and so forth, and I was always telling them I want to make a movie here someday. And then Henry had the crazy idea of making a zombie movie, and I was like, wow, that sounds like a good idea. So we picked that up, and you know, we went on like some kind of Google thingy and we wrote out a script, but like, I don't know, it was really hard because we were all writing the script together and all the like scenes didn't match up right, and we were like, wow, this sucks, we need help. So we posted out on Facebook how we needed help with the script and so forth, and then someone commented on it, and the person who commented on it was Stephanie. Now again, Stephanie's one of Greg's friends, so I met her through Greg, and she was already into filmmaking and everything. She seemed really pro at what she was doing. So knowing me, out of desperation, I'm all like, hey, can you help us? Because we need ideas fast. Because I already knew what I was doing, but everyone else like didn't know what the fuck they were doing. So I was like, Stephanie, can you please help? So I didn't know her in person. We kind of talked on Facebook for, you know, a few days before I met her. And she was already filming one of her movies. It's an independent movie called Insanity. And I helped film like bits and pieces of it. Put my name on the back of the DVD. Oh, so awesome. But yeah, that's how I met Stephanie for the first time. I just met her on the set of her movie. And needless to say, everything clicked between us. You know, we were talking about effects and, you know, movies and, you know, all that jazz. So then she came aboard. And I'm not gonna get into everyone else. You know, there was Bella, there was Ryan, there was Fahad, and just Devani, and a bunch of other people who joined later. But, you know, they weren't like part of the crew, but like, well, they kind of were. Ryan was, for the most part, and Bella a little bit. But what is this video about, really? Well, it's not shocking to some because, you know, I talked about this a lot. But we all broke up after summer because, like, I don't know, it seemed like I was the bad guy in the group for the most part because I was always the douchebag and everything. And I didn't aim to be the douchebag. I just had like really dirty humor, but like certain people in the group didn't really pick that up and like were always getting offended, and I tried to apologize for it the best way I can, but you know, it didn't work out in the end. And then soon later they kicked me out of the group, and then they all went towards Stephanie because like me and Stephanie were like co-leaders of the group. So they all went towards her and everything, and everyone was peer pressuring her, telling her not to talk to me, block me, whatever. She did, unfortunately, but you know, I don't know. She always told me she never had a grudge towards me, but you know, given the fact that my actions were like really like mean and stupid and everything, you know, it kind of gave her, you know, some reason to like not talk to me, which is totally understandable. But I really want to get back to the main point of this video. I'm trying so hard to tell you it. God, I always hate getting off track. But mainly what this video is about is like, I want to like tell you guys the truth about everyone in the group. I want to tell you how I felt towards everyone towards the group, because like, it was, let me just go. I'm gonna start with Lexi. Now Lexi was like the pure one in the group. She was always an angel. She was always there during the set, and if she couldn't be there one day, she would always come the next day and make up for lost time. She's a musician. She is a great singer. She plays guitar really well. She's just amazing. She was always the good one in the group. So Lexi, thumbs up. I love you. Now Greg always came with ideas and everything. He always like talked about like superheroes and like he wanted to make like superhero videos for the most part. I think as far as I remember and everything. And you know, every time he would share me his ideas, I would share him my ideas, and then we would like collaborate on both those ideas. Sometimes it wouldn't work out and everything. I would like always take the bad sketches and you know, somehow turn them good. But sometimes he always wanted creative control over everything, so like, I don't know, that kind of didn't work out with me, and I was always being selfish because I was always the one who wanted creative control over everything, and that's what kind of made me like a co-leader in all of this, because like I always had ideas, I always had like schedules planned, dates planned, and so forth, but like sometimes people wouldn't be there for it even though they had to be, and like, I don't know. Greg was a good guy, you know, and you know, I never really had any beef towards him, but like when it came to Devin being a part of everything, I don't know, he was always siding with Devin, and I don't know, that kind of like threw the friendship off for the most part. But nonetheless, he was very comedic and everything, and you know, but when it came to siding with people, I don't know, he was not really good with that, because like he didn't want to side with anyone. He just wanted to bring peace for the most part, but like, I don't know, everything just got out of control. Henry was a fucking lunatic for the most part, but like, not in a bad way as much, but like, I don't know, in a funny way, because he was very, very comedic. I loved his comedic style, but when it came time to like talk to him really serious like, he just wasn't there. He was always joking around, kind of like me, but like he took it to a whole new extreme, you know, and like, I'm all like, Henry, you gotta be here for this, but you know, in the end, he never showed up towards like any set dates and so forth. I know I'm having trouble saying the word, but like, he was never there when we needed him because he was always getting grounded, and like, that kind of like threw us off, because like, we're in a really dedicated group and everything. We're dedicated to filming, and if you're not going to be there, then why are you in the group if you're never ever there? So that's kind of like one flaw I hated about Henry, but nonetheless, he was very comedic, and you know, he was a good guy, somewhat. Now Devin and Bella were like really, really hard to work with, because Bella and Ryan were like the photographers in the group and everything. We needed them if we needed pictures taken, but like, if we needed Bella and not Devin, then that wouldn't work, because if Bella was there, then Devin had to be there. If Devin was there, Bella had to be there, and it was just insane for the most part. But you know, and Devin always, you know, was the one to get people to come along, you know, because we tried to make a movie, a zombie movie last summer and everything, and he got a lot of people to like the audition page and everything on Facebook, but like, I don't know, it's either, you know, we didn't have a good date to like plan the auditions and stuff, but like, he was really good when it came to like resource and like getting people together, and yeah. But me and him, we kind of went back and forth with things, because like I said, I had like really raw humor, and you know, he didn't like the jokes I was making, because you know, some of them were somewhat racist, and he didn't like that, and you know, the breakup between me and him is that, you know, his mom shared a picture of him, and I'm all like, oh my god, who's taking a picture of me taking a shit again? And then I didn't know it was his mom sharing that picture, and then she got offended, and then he got offended, and like, I tried to say sorry, and you know, I hit Bella with a baseball one time, and I tried to say sorry about that. Didn't do that till a few weeks later. I know how that sounds confusing, but like, yeah, that's what made me a big douche, because I hit her with a baseball one time when we were hanging out. It was totally accidental. Threw it, didn't know where it was gonna land, hit her leg, sorry. I actually have a third channel video of me apologizing for this. I don't know, look for it somewhere. But yeah, he was like into like making rap videos, and like, he was always on board with whatever video I had to make, but like, again, if I needed him, I would call him, but like, Bella always had to be there, and that's what kind of like threw it off, because you know, sometimes I would say, Devin, you gotta do this for the video, and she would always say, no, don't do that, you're gonna hurt yourself, but ugh. Again, if you're going to be dedicated into the group, you have to do everything that's necessary to get a film or a video done. Enough said. Now, Ryan is someone I met through Devin over the phone and everything. We were just, you know, hanging out, trying to make a video called Blackass, which was a spoof off of Jackass and everything. And, you know, I met Ryan. He had a Canon camera, like a really professional photography camera, and I'm all like, oh, dude, you suck, because I want that. But when we brought him aboard, he was always there when, you know, financial stuff came into play, because like, I don't know, I always wanted to make videos for fun, not for business, not for money or anything, just for fun. But he always wanted to mix business with pleasure, and I wasn't having it. Sure, we needed money to get the zombie movie made last year, and he was always there financially, but like, no, okay, just, I didn't like it when like money was coming into this, because when money gets into something that you're trying to do for fun, it turns into like a business, and you know, people are gonna start like wanting money, and then people are gonna start getting fired, and then everyone's not gonna be friends anymore, and I really didn't want that. I just wanted to have a film group for the summer and just have fun. But when he came along, he just wanted to have money into it, and no, just Ryan, you're a good guy and everything, but you know, you're really hard to work with sometimes because, like I said, you wanted money involved and you weren't really good at acting so much, but like, you were just, you know, that guy who was wacky and wanted Red Bull a lot and always wanted to fight someone out of nowhere. And you always had this serious face even when you joked around, and it just kind of scared me for the most part. But needless to say, you're kind of like a good guy slash bad guy for the most part, because like, again, you wanted to mix business with pleasure and it just wasn't good for the group. Now last but not least, I want to get to Stephanie. Now Stephanie, hands down, was a fantastic filmmaker. She was good with visual effects, she was good with stories, she liked horror, and you know, I love the horror genre so much. But I really feel bad for doing what I did, and that is bringing all these people to her. People she didn't possibly know. Now she already knew Lexi and Greg. She didn't know Ryan, she didn't know Devin, Bella, and you know, the other people that were in the group, as far as I know. But when we all got together, we all seemed to click, we were all having a good time, joking around and everything. But you know, later on, everything just got out of control with her, and then like, I don't know, she kind of wanted creative control as well, kind of like what like me and Greg had. She always kind of wanted to make parodies of everything. Like she was into this band Cherry Bomb, and she was always obsessed with this movie called May, and she loved superheroes. And every time I would always come over her house, it was never a hangout thing for the most part. It was always like planning. She wants to make spoofs. She always had monologues prepared. She always wanted me to like read them out loud, audition for things, and then like, I would love to help her out when it came to filming, but like, I don't know. There were some times where like I would come over, she would always say she's having movie auditions. I always showed up, but no one else ever did, and I kind of felt bad for her in a way. But nonetheless, she had a dream. She wants to be a filmmaker, she wants to be a director, she wants to be a writer, she wants to be in the film life. And I'm not going to stop her from doing that. You know, if you have a dream, if you have a career, and that is your dream, go for it, pursue it, and be happy with it. But make sure you have the right people for the job. You can't always do everything yourself. Everything needs patience, you need right timing for everything, and you just need the right people. And given the fact that me and Stephanie were co-leaders on this whole group and everything, like everyone else, we kind of went back and forth with things. Some things didn't mix between us. And I might have had like a slight crush on her, but at the time, I was already in a relationship, and I didn't want to like complicate anything, because like I was really devoted when I was in my relationship, and like to think of her in that way, it was bad timing, it was wrong, and I really hated myself for it. And again, just like Ryan, it was like mixing business with pleasure, and just no. But soon later, after everyone kicked me out, like I said, everyone went towards her, and you know, she was hanging out with everyone. She made like a Christmas music video with everybody in the crew and everything. And you know, soon after, you know, I talked to her on Oscar night a couple days ago and everything, and I told her I was going to make this video, and Lexi like was always questioning me like, James, are you gonna make this video about the crew and everything? Like, why'd you leave the crew? And I'm making it right now and everything, and I made this video like 20 times, and I always deleted it because like I didn't know what I was gonna say. I was afraid that I was gonna like lie about some things, but I don't want to and everything. I want to tell the truth of how I feel with everyone. Getting back to the story. After everyone kicked me out, they all went towards her, and then a few months, you know, down the line, Greg started to insult her, Henry, Devin, and so forth, and you know, she wasn't having it, so she kind of like lost contact with all of them as far as I know and everything. So she's solo now, just like me, and just like everyone else as far as I know, because I don't know what everyone else is doing, but I know what Stephanie's doing, I know what Lexi's doing. Wow, that sounded very stalkerish. But Stephanie's trying to pursue her film career still. Lexi's into like music and everything, and I love both of those things. And I really wish them the best of luck on it, and I heard they're in a band now called The Accidentals, and story of my life. Now let me get down to my final opinion about Stephanie. She was a good person. No wait, scratch that. She is a good person, okay? I'm not trying to like kiss ass towards anyone right now, but like, she is a good person. She has a film career, she has a dream, but like when I brought all these people towards her and everything, I felt bad. But needless to say, she is a good person, she has a great mind and everything, but like, I don't know, it's either she didn't work well with others for the most part, but you know, I can't say that for the most part because I brought her those people and I felt bad. But hopefully later on in the future she does find the right people to help her with her filmmaking, and like I said, I wish her the best with it. But Stephanie, if I had to give you a little piece of advice, it would be to tell you to be patient with things, and soon later everything will go your way. Don't try to rush things, always take time with your work, and you know, trust and believe in yourself and stay strong for yourself, and always be positive for yourself and for others, and then hopefully, you know, Confucius say, things will work out for you. And that's all. That's all I want to say. But just like I tell everyone else, if you need a friend, not a film buddy, not a coworker, if you need a friend to help you with something, to talk about anything, I'm always here for you. And just so we get everything cleared up, I don't hate anyone that was in that group last year. I loved everyone. Not like as a film buddy or, you know, as a co-worker, but just as friends. And I'm really sorry that, you know, we mixed business with pleasure and we shouldn't have done that and everything, and that's why the friendship was lost, is lost, I don't know anymore, but like, I generally miss everybody that was in that group and everything. I still talk to you, Stephanie, I still talk to you, Lexi, but like everyone else just kind of went their own separate ways. I talk to Bella every now and again, but you know, it was fun last year and I had fun, and I really hope you guys had a good time. I really hope you guys learn from the experience, and hopefully, you know, you absorb anything that happened last year and, you know, try to like learn off of it and just remember all the good times that we had. So all in all, thanks for watching, guys, and you know, that is a story about the crew, and I really hope I said something in this video because I really didn't waste half an hour filming this for nothing. And, you know, I've been filming this for 20 takes now, so hopefully I said the right things. Hopefully I said something that was meaningful and, you know, you got the message. So thanks for watching, guys, so much, and I will see you in the near future. Because right now I have things I gotta work on. I got really bad, you know, health issues I gotta take care of, and, you know, projects. So this will be the last video on the third channel for, you know, a couple days, a couple weeks, who knows. But yeah. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.